So, welcome back to a chapter today. It is Sabbath, so happy Sabbath. I am running um, kind of back two chapters because I missed Wednesday or I missed Thursday and Friday, and and today is Saturday. So, I'm going to try and double up on my chapters, or I may just have to make three recordings today or try to catch up sometime. But that's okay. And happy first of the June month, also of the month of June. And let's go into our readings. We're still reading about some of the ordinances God gave to the children of Israel. So let's see what chapter 30 says. And Moses spake unto the heads of the tribes concerning the children of Israel, saying, This is the thing which the Lord has commanded. If a man vow a vow unto the Lord, or swear an oath to bind his soul with a bond, he shall not break his word. He shall do according to all that proceedeth out of his mouth. If a woman also vow a vow unto the Lord, and bind herself by a bond, being in her father's house in her youth, and her father hear her vow, and her bond wherewith she has bound her soul, and her father shall hold his peace at her, then all her vows shall stand, and every bond wherewith she has bound her soul shall stand. But if her father disallow her in that day that he heareth, not any of her vows or of her bonds wherewith she has bound her soul shall stand. And the Lord shall forgive her because her father disallowed her. So it is saying that if you vow a vow as a man, you keep it. Okay? Do not break your word, it came out of your mouth. If a woman does a vow, if she's a young woman in her father's house, that means unmarried, if her father hears it and disallows it, she's not bound to it. But if he does not, then she is allowed to carry it out. Verse 6, And if she had at all an husband when she vowed or uttered aught out of her lips wherewith she bound her soul, and her husband hear it, and held his peace at her in the day that he heard it, then her vow shall stand, and her bonds wherewith she bound her soul shall stand. But if her husband disallowed her on the day that he heard it, then he shall make her vow which she vowed, and that which she uttered with her lips, wherewith she bound her soul, of none effect, and the Lord shall forgive her. But if for every vow of a widow and of her that is divorced, wherewith they have bound their souls, shall stand against her. And if she vowed in her husband's house, or bound her soul by a bond with an oath, and her husband heard it, and held his peace at her, and disallowed her not, then all her vows shall stand, and every bond wherewith she bound her soul shall stand. So it's the same thing if a woman is married, just as if she were in in her father's house. If her husband heard it and disallowed it, fine. If he didn't hear it, or even if he heard it and he held his peace and didn't disallow her, then it stands. Okay? And if you're a widow or a divorced person, you have nobody to hold it against you, you are bound. Okay, it stands against you. So I think it's very serious when you vow a vow. Like some of us would say sometimes, we would do certain things. Oh, if I get a job, Lord, I will give you my first paycheck. Or, if I get that car, I'm going to make sure and help others. Or what we vows. We may not call it vows. We may say it really meaning in our hearts at the time. And then later on, whatever transpires in our hearts, we feel, I can't hold to this, and we don't carry it through. I think that may not be a good thing to do, because it's something that we vowed. It should be like a sacred thing to God. Verse 12. But if her husband has utterly made them void on the day he heard them, then whatsoever proceedeth out of her lips concerning her vows, or concerning the bond of her soul, shall not stand. Her husband has made them void, and the Lord shall forgive her. Every vow and every binding oath to afflict the soul, her husband may establish it, or her husband may make it void. But if her husband altogether hold his peace at her from day to day, then he establisheth all her vows or all her bonds, which are upon her. He confirmeth them, and because he held his peace at her in the day that he heard them. But if he shall in any ways make them void after that he hath heard them, then he shall bear her iniquity. These are the statutes which the Lord commanded Moses between a man and his wife, between the father and his daughter, being yet in her youth in her father's house. So again, if the husband heard it and he didn't say anything at the time, and then later on when she's carrying out the vows, maybe he has a problem with it, he's going to bear her burden of guilt because he didn't say anything at the beginning to disallow the vow. But then he let it go, and then when she's carrying it out, he tries to stop her. So these are the laws for vows for young women and for men and for widows and divorced people. Okay, so I think I can go into chapter 31. I think it's a long chapter, so whoa. I don't know if I should take the chance. Let's see. I'm looking at my time because on my video I don't have that much time. But I'm going to try. Here goes. Chapter 31. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Avenge the children of Israel of the Midianites. Afterwards shalt thou be gathered unto thy people. And Moses spake unto the people, saying, Arm some of yourselves unto the war, and let them go against the Midianites, and avenge the Lord of Midian. Of every tribe 1,000 throughout all the tribes of Israel shall you send to the war. So there were delivered out of the thousands of Israel 1,000 of every tribe, 12,000 armed for war. The Midianites had stopped Israel from coming through their land. When they were going through the wilderness, they did not allow them to go through. Verse 6, And Moses sent them to the war 1,000 of every tribe, them and Phinehas the son of Eleazar the priest to the war with the holy instruments, and the trumpets to blow in his hand. And they warred against the Midianites as the Lord commanded Moses, and they slew all the males. And they slew the kings of Midian, beside the rest of them that were slain, namely Evi and Rechem and Zur and Hur and Reba, 5 kings of Midian. Balaam also, the son of Beor, they slew with the sword. And the children of Israel took all the women of Midian captive, and their little ones, and took the spoil of all their cattle, and all their flocks, and all their goods. And they burnt all their cities wherein they dwelt, and all their goodly castles with fire. So all the men were killed, but the women were, and the cattle was spared. Verse 11, And they brought the captives and the prey and the spoil unto Moses and Eleazar the priest, and unto the congregation of the children of Israel, unto the camp at the plains of Moab, which are by Jordan near Jericho. And Moses and Eleazar the priest and all the princes of the congregation went forth to meet them without the camp. And Moses was wroth with the officers of the host, with the captains over thousands and captains over hundreds, which came from the battle. And Moses said unto them, Have you saved all the women alive? Behold, okay, now they were not supposed to do that. They were supposed to kill everybody. But they kept the women and they kept the cattle. So here's Moses upset with them. Verse 16. Behold, these caused the children of Israel through the counsel of Balaam to commit trespass against the Lord in the matter of Peor. And there was a plague among the congregation of the Lord. Now therefore kill every male among the little ones, and kill every woman that hath known man by lying with him. But all the women, children that have not known a man by lying with him, keep alive for yourselves. And do ye abide without the camp 7 days, whosoever hath killed any person, and whosoever hath touched any slain. Purify both yourselves and your captives on the 3rd day, and on the 7th, and purify all your raiment, and all that is made of skins, all work of goat's hair, and all things made of wood. So Moses was not happy that they kept the women and the children. So he told them, kill the male children and only keep the women who were not, who had not been married or known men. Verse 21. And they also killed Balaam. Remember that priest who was trying to curse Israel before? He also died in the raid, in the war with Midian. Verse 21. And Eleazar the priest said unto the men of war which went to the battle, This is the ordinance of the law which the Lord commanded Moses. Only the gold and the silver, the brass, the iron, the tin, and the lead. Everything that may abide the fire, you shall make it go through the fire, and it shall be clean. Nevertheless, it shall be purified with the water of separation. And all that abideth not the fire, you shall go through the water. You shall make go through the water. And you shall wash your clothes on the seventh day, and you shall be clean, and afterward you shall come into the camp. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, so they were supposed to purify themselves after they had done these killings. They were not supposed to come into the camp for 7 days, and they were supposed to purify the things that they had. Whatever could have gone through the fire, they put them through the fire for purification. If not, they had to wash them with the water of separation from the tabernacle to make them clean. Verse 26. Take the sum of the prey that was taken, both of man and of beast, and thou and Eleazar the priest, and the chief fathers of the congregation, and divide the prey into 2 parts, between them that took the war upon them who went out to battle, and between all the congregation. And levy a tribute unto the Lord of the men of war which went out to battle, 1 soul of 500, both of the persons and of the beeves, and of the asses and of the sheep. Take it of their half, and give it unto Eleazar the priest for an heave offering of the Lord. And of the children of Israel's half, thou shalt take 1 portion of 50 of the persons of the beeves, of the asses, and of the flocks, of all manner of beasts, and give them unto the Levites, which keep the charge of the tabernacle of the Lord. So Moses told them, hey, you're going to have to pay tithes to God through the tabernacle, divvy it up into some parts, and give tribute to the men who went to war, and then give some to the priests. Verse 31. And Moses and Eleazar the priest did as the Lord commanded Moses, and the booty, being the rest of the prey which the men of war had caught, was 600,000 and 7,000 and 5,000 sheep. Okay, let me see if I can put that in regular numbers. 675,000 sheep. Can you even think of that? I can't even fathom that. And 12,000 beeves. Beeves are cattle. So that's 72,000 cattle, heads of cattle. 1,000 asses, 31,000 donkeys, 32,000 persons in all, 32,000 people of women that had not known men by lying with them. This was a large collection. And the half, which was the portion of them that went out to war, was in number 300,000 and 30,000 and 500 sheep. So let me see that. It was 300,000, 7 and 30,000. So 337,500 sheep. My gosh. And the Lord's tribute of the sheep was 615. So 675,000. And the beeves were 36,000. Of the Lord's tribute was 12, which was 72. And the asses were 30,500, of which the Lord's tribute was 1. So what they're doing is tithing everything to give to God. So whatever the number was, 1/10 of it would go to God, or more. And the persons were 16,000, of which the Lord's tribute was 32 persons. And Moses gave the tribute, which was the Lord's heave offering, unto Eleazar the priest, as the Lord commanded Moses. And of the children of Israel's half, which Moses divided from the men that warred. Now the half that pertained unto the congregation was 300,000 and 30,000 and 7,000 and 500 sheep, 337,500 sheep, 36,000 cattle, 30,000 asses and 30,500 donkeys, 16,000 people, even of the children of Israel's half. Moses took 1 portion of 50, both of man and of beast, and gave them unto the Levites, because remember, they couldn't go out to war. They had to keep the tabernacle, which kept the charge of the tabernacle of the Lord, as the Lord commanded Moses. And the officers which were over thousands of the host, the captains of thousands and the captains of hundreds, came near unto Moses. And they said unto Moses, Thy servants have taken the sum of the men of war which are under our charge, and there lacketh not one man of us. That means they didn't lose anyone in the war with the Midianites, and they captured so much from them. We have therefore brought an oblation for the Lord, what every man has gotten of jewels, of gold, chains and bracelets, rings, earrings, and tablets, to make an atonement for our souls before the Lord. So everyone from the tribes, the captains brought something extra to give to God, for they were so thankful that no one died. And Moses and Eleazar the priest took the gold of them, even all wrought jewels, and all the gold of the offering that they offered up to the Lord, of the captains of thousands and of the captains of hundreds, and 16,750 shekels. Wow. For the men of war had taken spoil, every man for himself. And Moses and Eleazar the priest took the gold of the captains of thousands and of hundreds, and brought it into the tabernacle of the congregation, for a memorial for the children of Israel before the Lord. These people were blessed. I mean, when they went out to war, all of these things were, that's why they said the wealth of the wicked is stored up for the just. This is a good example. They came back with so much things, nothing of which was originally belonging to any of them. And they made sure and gave back to God. Because remember, everything we have comes from God. The gold, the silver, the sheep, we can't make a thing. No one can take their hands and just form something. It doesn't happen like that. We take what God already gave us and then we make something, and then we think, we are so great. But that's the end of the reading of chapter 31. So I have read 2 chapters in one time, 30 and 31. And I'm going to stop there for today. And I will come back a little later and read chapter 32. And that will be for today, June 1st. So I thank you all for again listening and viewing. And pray that you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care. Bye.